Hi, it's John at C Nation, and you are tuned into the Kush Journals. Join me and my occasional guests each weekday as we discuss all things cannabis in the great state of Utah. Hey, it's John at C Nation, and you are tuned in to the Kush Journals. Say hi, Zen.
Howdy.
Say hi, Jules.
Hi, everyone.
It is High Times Friday, and we have got a beauty today. Thank you, High Times, and thank you, Nick Lindsay, for this content. It is the top 11 most divisive issues among weed smokers. What do you think those might be?
No idea. I'm excited to hear about them.
So the top 11 most divisive issues among weed smokers might not be exactly what you think it is. It's not like, hey, should we light up in the middle of church? Yes or no? Well, yes. Duh.
Hello.
Right?
Isn't that the default answer for should we light up?
Right. See, that's not that divisive. That's a 3 for 3 answer here. So the top 11 most divisive issues among weed smokers, according to Nick Lindsay, has a lot to do with the types of THC you can ingest. Well, the not the types of THC, but how it might be presented: wax, flower, shatter, or the methods of delivering all that goodness into your body. So it's those kinds of things.
I'll fight to the death over those things.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. I think we have some clear answers here, but let's get underway. You guys know how this generally works. We're not going to read this word for word. We're not going to reread Nick Lindsay's article. We'll put a link to it. What I will do is read the opening, and then we will read each bullet point, each of the 11, and go from there, because we have much to say on these things, I'm sure. So Mr. Nick Lindsay wrote, "The world of cannabis is so much larger, diverse, active, and dynamic than the worn-out, stereotypical image of a lazy stoner sitting on the couch all day." He kind of says that like that's a bad thing or something. I guess it might be stereotypical, huh?
It is very. It is. Yeah.
Mr. Nick Lindsay continued, "In fact, there's so much going on in cannabis culture that weed smokers actually have disagreements on all sorts of things. Fortunately, if a disagreement arises between weed smokers, there's always a quick antidote on hand." What do you think it is? Puff, puff, pass?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, probably. That just fixes everything, doesn't it? That is literally it. A few puffs and everyone's feeling better. In any case, here are the 11 most divisive issues among weed smokers. Number 11. What about all these new weed products?
It's insane.
Isn't it?
It's kind of overwhelming.
Now, we've never been to a Walmart-sized dispensary. Though maybe you did, Zen. Shengo?
Yeah, that one was pretty big.
It was a pretty enormous building. I don't know how big it was on the inside. I never went in there. But we have been in some dispensaries that have 800,000 products and more coming in the back door.
And it's how do you keep up with them?
Oh,
it's mind-blowing.
Crazy.
How do you even pick a favorite?
How do you?
Well, that's why I like to just start from this end, go to this end, and just try one of everything. Yeah.
We'll just hit the spectrum. We'll start with flowers because we know those the best, and we'll end with topicals or something like that. But yeah, there's a zillion products out there right now, a lot of which are designed to, of course, make you feel all hoopy and fruity with that THC coursing through your body. But yeah, there's a zillion of them. There's edibles and there's flowers and there's just in the concentrates. It's crazy, huh? Do you know the difference between live resin and live rosin and snap and pull and
sugar and
live
wax
sugar and wax? Yeah, you could spend a day at a dispensary just being educated on some of this stuff. So that really is actually a divisive issue. If you are the kind of person who is used to your dealer bringing you a bag of whatever, or if you have If you think going to like 31 flavors ice cream, there's like 32 many flavors there because, duh, there's vanilla. What else do... A dispensary can be an overwhelming process. You may not know what you want. I'd say duck in there with a clear idea and get it.
Yeah, but that's what the bud tenders are for, to help you figure it out.
It is true. I mean,
don't go on opening day, because then the bud tenders right? won't have time for
it's
people.
True. I mean, it's very cool. If you've got the time to just go to a dispensary and say, hey, I just want to look around for a minute at all of this stuff because it's blowing my mind. They are for sure.
And they will help you learn about all of it.
And they realize that people are blown away by the sheer breadth of products in the marketplace. And it's not just one company making 50 products.
It's 50 companies making 500 products.
No, that's exactly it. So
it's like walking into a candy shop.
For sure. Number 10, smoke or vape. Zen?
Smoke.
Jules?
Lately I've been vaping a little bit more than smoking. Right. It's because of that flame I don't want to put to the cannabis. Yeah. But I started with smoking. I probably will end with smoking.
Yeah, if you just had to... So we did a podcast that was Would You Rather? And some of them were like forever and ever and all eternity plus 1 day. Yeah. Smoke or vape, if that was it for all eternity, you'd choose smoke.
Smoke.
Just seem to have the most control over that, don't you?
Yeah. And I find the high different also.
Well, and I find looking at those frosty nugs to be something just special. There are growers out there who need agents. You agents out there with all your sports stars and musicians,
look at these bud tenders.
Go find some top shelf growers. Absolutely. Go find some top shelf growers, because that's a talent right there that you could shop around to deep-pocketed investors saying, look, this guy will grow you every customer you could ever imagine, because he's frosty and dank and
custom make you anything.
Top shelf. I think I'm in the smoke category too, for, well, reasons. Obviously, that's my familiarity. And
I think that's all three of our default.
It is, and of course, you know, we talk about this a bit, but when I took my very first puff, you two weren't quite in this world yet.
Not quite.
And they're not so much young as I am old, trust me. But I have this real love of cannabis culture. And the flower obviously plays a big part of that, particularly if you just happen to know anybody that really grew it and trimmed it and cured it and dried it and the whole 9 yards. But yeah, culturally, I love to smoke reefer. I would choose smoking over vaping any day. It's a different experience. You can probably get as high vaping, but it seems to be challenging, and you may need some of that 90% on up kind of potency stuff. So anyway, that seems like a settled issue there. Smoke. Number 9, outdoor grow versus indoor grow.
Indoor.
I would say I don't know the difference.
Okay. And I'm torn. And some of this is cultural. Well, all of it's cultural, I suppose.
I like it being controlled indoors.
It's, now to Jules' point, you know, if you have a keen eye for cannabis, you can generally spot the outdoor, the greenhouse, which they might call light deprivation, or indoor, which is, you know, hydroponic. You can generally tell the difference. The outdoor grow is going to be, it might be a little darker. A lot of times it is. And it's not quite as compact. The buds, the flowers are not quite as compact. It's outdoors in Mother Nature. They're a bit more fluffy, yeah. They are. They're reaching for the sun, and outdoor plants will tend to stretch a bit. Indoor, you control that by your placement of the lamps above the cannabis. If you just keep those a few inches away as they grow, well, they think they reached the sun. So they don't stretch like that. They tend to be much more compact. I know we've all had experience. You get a little nuggy, and it seems like it's nothing to write home about. You throw it in your grinder, and you open it up, and there's a freaking ounce and a half in there. So it just exploded. Boom! You know.
See, I would have to say now indoor.
Yeah.
Now that I know it, I would say indoor.
You tend to get maybe a more potent batch too, though. I can't vouch for that. The indoor guys will just throw down with the outdoor guys and say ours is the best and vice versa, and it would be a hell of a brawl. But I guess I prefer the indoor too, though I feel like I'm betraying myself when I say that. What I do like is reefer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If I had to draw a line in the sand and say I'll just smoke this forever and ever, oh my gosh. See, I could grow outdoor, no matter where I'm at. Yeah, I'm going to go with indoor, I suppose.
Yes, we want another one.
for all the reasons we just talked about. They seem to get a little cleaner, a little more potent, I hesitate to use the word better. If you can think of the nuances of the word better, that's roughly what I mean. So that is settled. We all decided indoor was the ticket for our money. Number 8. Joints, spliffs, or blunts?
Joints.
Joints.
Even though I'm a tobacco user,
Right.
I would still prefer joints because I like the taste of just the cannabis alone.
Yeah, I don't like tobacco with my reefer.
Joints, spliffs, or blunts. So I said joints. Spliffs, of course, are half tobacco, half cannabis. Blunts historically have been buy those cheap cigars, slit them open,
Empty
dump
them
out
out.
all the tobacco, but you're still left with the tobacco leaf. Put
But
your
now they
cannabis
have-
in there. They do.
They have blunts
they
with
have-
cannabis wrap.
Yep.
The hemp.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
have
hemp. So I'll buy that.
hemp blunt wrappers. I don't mind a big fat, joint, but yeah, I'm with you. I like the clean white papers, I suppose, rice paper, hemp paper, etc. I just like those, and of course that is my cultural roots with cannabis are joints for sure. And I'm with you guys. No tobacco in my cannabis, and no tobacco in me if I can avoid it, and I typically do, except for walking through Las Vegas
Dear
casinos
Lord.
that seem to be holding a tobacco convention every week.
Chain smoking contest.
Yeah, it's tough. Sit in front of those machines for a while. You are going to go through some cigarettes. Number 7, sativa, indica, hybrid, or doesn't matter.
Sativa.
I like it all because it's just all reefer. But if I had to choose, it would be sativa because it gives me the energy.
Yeah,
It's energizing.
and I'll tell you, one of the things we've been doing here at the Kush Journals is a lot of research into terpenes, because we've discovered that just being an indica or just being a sativa, in fact, I'll use a sativa example here. When we went to Las Vegas last July for the launch of adult use cannabis in Nevada, we were fortunate to get our hands on a little bit of a sativa strain called Miss X. I'm here to tell you, if sativas are meant to elevate you,
They failed with that one.
Yeah, this was either mismarked or somebody's off their rocker when it comes to what sativas do to you.
Yeah, that one kind of knocked me out, but it's still a sativa.
It is a sativa, but when we got to looking at the laboratory label on it, we saw, in addition to being a sativa, and it is and was, it had a fair amount of sedative type terpenes in it, including myrcene, which will park you. Myrcene, particularly in an indica, when you talk about things like couch lock, talk about stoned, talk about that just thick and heavy and leave me alone, and I'm sitting there slobbering saying duh and laughing, yeah, that's as much myrcene as anything. So, a real true landrace sativa, yeah, it probably is that real upper, a true landrace.
Green crack.
Yeah, that's an indica. It probably really is that more sedative type effect. But I'm telling you, just because those labels say that, today they're more than likely hybrids.
Yeah,
because
it's a lot
everything's
more,
been
yeah.
crossed with everything else. I mean, you want to talk about multiculturalism. It is in cannabis plants these days by far. So with all these hybrids out there and with all these crosses that everybody's saying it's this and that and the other, all right, we take them at their word that it is. be aware of the terpenes that are in that and make yourself aware of the terpenes. I will put up a great terpene chart at cnation.com and you can get a handle on this. But when you're looking for sedatives or when you're looking for stimulants, you can find those in the terpenes that are listed in those. They could very well offset the effect that you're expecting based on the variety, sativa or indica. So, all things being equal, I'm going with the indica. I think it just suits me. It suits where I prefer to be on the spectrum. I never have liked uppers and speed and things like that. Too much caffeine can even put me in a spot I don't want to be in. But, man, you want to slow me down and put me on the other end? I'm generally down. So, what'd you say, Jules?
I said normally sativa. So I would do sativa in the morning and indica at night.
Gotcha. And that seems to be the routine for a lot of people to do that too. I don't blame them. Guess if you had if you had Miss X, you could do a sativa in the morning that was different and a sativa in the evening that was that. And holy cow, you'd be waking up tomorrow. Number 6, wrap of choice. Ribbed or not?
No.
Is that what they mean?
Lubricated.
Ah,
Just regular white joint wraps, joint rolls.
you like
papers.
You like papers.
I would just
You
say
like rolling
pre-rolled
papers.
because I don't know how
Yeah,
to
that.
roll,
See,
and
that's not
I
bad.
just
Pre-roll's not bad, so obviously
And
wrap of
every
choice.
dispensary sells them.
Exactly.
Well, they do.
Thank you.
And they, but I mean, I've seen all sorts of even good material wraps. And by good material, I'm talking about like rice paper, hemp, these types of things.
Yeah.
I've seen them in clear. That's crazy.
Well, and I've seen people doing rose petals and other plants out there. So it's...
But I'm with you. I prefer just the traditional zigzag, white paper.
Yeah. And just like the last question regarding spliffs and blunts,
Yeah.
my favorite wrap is just a regular joint wrap.
I mean, you walk into my house and say, hey, I got a great big fat blunt rolled. Yeah, I'm throwing down with you for reals. Thanks for bringing it.
Yeah.
But
I'm willing to try anything.
yeah, for sure. Given a preference, yeah. Plain white rolling papers seem to work just
already rolled
great
for me,
for
thanks.
Exactly.
And you're right. I don't mind a pre-roll. I just need a pre-roll that's made with whole flour instead of the shit that fell on the cutting room floor, right? Don't buy pre-rolls unless you know they're whole flour. Number 5. Do you like eating your weed?
Hell yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now, this is a divisive issue because there are plenty of people who will say, oh, I've eaten 1,000 milligrams of edibles and it's never done anything to me. A, you're a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
Or someone lied to you about that having cannabis in it. But
Yeah.
that seems to be the big divisive issue on edibles. Oh, they don't do anything for me. Brother, you have eaten the wrong thing then. That's all I have to say. Now, there are some medical conditions, etc., that can make it challenging to process fat, but just double up.
Yeah. I agree.
Do you like...
I
yes,
usually have to eat a
yes.
little bit more edibles to be able to feel the effect. So I'm in that category of just eating. When you try edibles or when you're doing edibles at the first, make sure that you gradually get into it and you know what your body's going to be able to intake.
Yeah, start small.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't, when it comes to edibles, this really isn't a 100-meter sprint. This is the marathon. Yeah. And it may take you a little bit to get those numbers dialed in, but boy, when you do, life is good.
Glorious.
Glorious. That's a $5 C Nation John word right there. Glorious. Heck yeah. Number 4. This is going to be challenging for me. Concentrate of choice.
Shatter.
It's amazing.
I like it on an e-nail. I like it on my donut pen. I like it on a glass banger or a quartz banger.
You'd eat it on your breakfast toast.
Yeah. No, that's what
I love
edibles
it.
are for, John.
It's delicious. It's an easy high. It's one hit. I'm usually good.
Yeah.
It's not too much of it.
I'm not a concentrate guy. I mean, I think, that nug is pretty tight. That's pretty
That's not the
concentrated.
same.
No. I do like the oil cartridges. I do not like the shatters and waxes and things that I have to heat something up or put it in. It has nothing to do with the element being hot and heated. I haven't burned myself since my mid-30s, but there's just something about it. A small amount produces a tremendous amount of smoke.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have big capacity in my lungs, and I really hate coughing them up. to be quite honest, it might be too much THC for me too. I like a little. I like it a little more. I don't know what's the right word. Delicate. That's not the right word.
Mellow.
I like a little less THC. I'm not always shopping for that 25 or 30% flower. I'm really not. It's hard to buy some that are less than that sometimes, but yeah, I'm all right with quite a bit less than that. I might rather sit and smoke a whole joint and be less high than someone that's done a single hit of shatter. I'm okay with that. So, yeah, concentrative choice, gun to my head. I like the oil cartridges. I like the vape cartridges that, you know, the 510, 550 threads, put them on the little battery pack and push the button and the oil
voila, you got
turns into smoke. They're not bad, all things considered, but they're not flower either. So I guess that's it. Shatter, oil. Number 3, dealer versus dispensary.
Dispensary.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because you know what you're getting.
It's labeled to a ridiculous level.
A lot are.
Seriously. Yeah. You know exactly what you're getting, and you know where you're getting it from. And you know you're not going to get robbed, and so many other ends.
You're helping paying the taxes and...
Well, we're helping the cannabis community, is helping to support the cannabis community through better education and awareness programs and various community outreach, etc. I'm down with taxes in the dispensaries. Some places we've been, they've been ridiculous, bordering on brutal.
I would have to say, if you want to be a dealer, just go to the dispensary. Right. You're not breaking the law. You're not going to get those
as
chances.
A bud tender.
You know, and that's a fair point. None of us object to dealing with the local dealer, but yeah, it's not our preference. I mean, if you think about it...
I would rather walk into a Walmart of weed any day than, some dude that has something
in his backpack.
Yeah, we would too. And that's just it. Not one time. I mean, it's got to have been the rarest occasion in my life of buying cannabis in the black market that I actually saw some reefer that just made me stop and say, oh my, that stuff is awesome. All the trichomes are knocked off it. There's nothing frosty about it. Yeah,
it's all been vacuum packed.
It might be a glorious high when it's all said and done, but it looks like ass. And that is a distinct... I mean, we kind of enjoy these things with our eyeballs first. And when you go into a dispensary, all three of us will vouch for this. If you've never been to a dispensary, the first time you do, and you actually look at cannabis that has likely not touched a human hand. I mean, it's been grown with people that wear gloves and trimmed by people that wear gloves and packaged right away. As soon as it's dried and cured, it's packaged. All those trichomes are still on it. They're just frosty, like frosted flakes frosty. Mm-hmm. It's an experience that will blow your mind. And as much as we prefer to deal with dispensaries over dealers because, well, it's just legal, it's just awesome too. I mean,
if you haven't gone there, you're totally missing out.
you need to
plan a road trip to a legal state.
Yeah, you will never shop anywhere else once you actually see top shelf reefer and what it really looks like and means
it's many
to be top
mediums.
Shelf. Absolutely. So, yeah, we're all in favor of dispensaries. We don't object necessarily to the dealer route, but yeah, why would you? I mean, unless the dealer's going to pull up in his big truck and open it up and he's got 400 items in there like the dispensary. Yeah, and that's probably not going to happen. So, yep, we're set on dispensaries versus dealers. Number 2, cannabinoids alone or entourage effect?
Entourage effect. We keep doing that.
They didn't even count that one down. Here's the reality for all of us here. We don't have a ton of experience with just cannabinoids. A little bit, but we do have a lot of experience with the entourage effect. And we've always said that all cannabis use is medicinal, and it is. And there's no way around that because when you ingest whole plant cannabis, I mean a nice dried flower, unless it was specifically grown like Charlotte's Web to contain nothing but THC, cannabidiol. Yeah. Yes. You're getting...
So even if you're just smoking it to get high, it's still doing wonderful things for your body.
It is. And we call the getting high a side effect. I mean, you've seen all the commercials on TV from all the pharmaceutical companies where their 1 minute commercial is 45 seconds of side effects, right? Including you might die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might die isn't a part of this equation.
Not at all.
At all. And the only side effect is getting high.
You might get some munchies.
That's the old joke, right? Cannabis is such good medicine. We only take it for its side effects.
Yeah.
Right? Try that with a pharmaceutical. We'll send flowers to your widow. We are all in agreement that for us it's entourage effect. Well, I won't say
it
entourage
all works
effect
together.
or nothing.
It all works together so beautifully.
It does.
Why mess with that?
And right, and this is one of the reasons when you start getting into a debate of hemp extracted CBD versus whole plant CBD. Whole plant CBD is still coming with a little bit of THC, a little bit of all the other cannabinoids that are in there, and more than the 0.3 that's allowed in hemp. So when you want really effective CBD, get yourself whole plant CBD because it's got the other goodness in it, and
that's going to help it work better.
They all help each other work a lot better. And finally, number 1, flower or concentrate?
Flower.
I'd say flower too. I like concentrate a lot.
Oh, I know your answer, John.
I started with it. So I started with it. I'd probably end with it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's flower for sure. Although if somebody wants to bring me like a big brick of some blonde Lebanese hash, I'm down. Hit me up if you do. I'll let you know how to get it to me.
Hey.
I'm just fooling. I'm a flower guy through and through. Not that I haven't had my fair share of concentrates. Not that I don't like my fair share of concentrates, but I'm a flower guy through and through for every reason you've ever heard me talk about on any of these podcasts.
Well, I like shatter a lot, but I would say that flower would be my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too. And if you got flower, guess what you can do? You can squish it
and
make yourself a concentrate. It's true. Flowers are versatile. You think those concentrates come from concentrate trees? They don't. Yeah. They come from whole plant cannabis being squished.
Well, you can make some edibles.
You can go on YouTube and watch the videos on how people do it.
They're the coolest things in the world, aren't they? Hey, we have talked about Haley 420 on here before, like her what are they called? The gravity bongs in the swimming pool.
That was awesome.
She bought herself a rosin press and pressed some. She just used small amounts of flour, maybe eighths or something. She pressed a couple of different batches, and I got to tell you, over a 15 or 20 minute video, she winds up so smashed. It's so hilarious, and she knows it. She can't even, her eyes are just spinning, and she's struggling to stand up. She's doing all this in her kitchen, and it's awesome. Check it out, Haley 420 on YouTube. It's one of the coolest.
It is hilarious. I love that video
videos we've ever seen. But yeah, so there you have it. The 11 most divisive issues between cannabis users. And, we largely agree. There's not a lot of material stuff that I don't think the real big stuff I don't think cannabis people fight over. Now growers might fight over this, that, or the other, but again, it's just like this stuff. Do you prefer this nutrient or that nutrient? Do you it's all just kind of stuff that winds up in the end
let
result.
us know what they want.
Absolutely. What are some of the divisive issues in your life? If it's to smoke or not smoke, don't send it. That's not a divisive issue at all.
Nope.
Smoke. It's been John with C Nation.
And Zen.
And me. Yeah, me. Hi.
I know. You messed up my ending. It's all good, though. There's no rules here at the Kush Journals except for smoke instead of not smoke. C Nation John, thank you for tuning into the Kush Journals. Kush Journals is a copyrighted broadcast of the South American Gold Corporation. We appreciate your likes and shares on social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.